So chefs were like, you know what? What if we took these nori rolls and we flipped them inside out so that white people can see the white rice on the outside?
What?
So that they're not threatened by...
That is genius, because they're right.
And people liked that. People were like, oh, this is familiar. This is kind of calming. I feel like I see myself in this food. Hi, everybody, and welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Kaveh Taherian.
And I'm Hannah Hillam, well-rested and ready to talk.
The newly dyed Hannah Hillam, looking excellently dyed.
My hair.
Is this like an industry thing that we're not supposed to talk? People aren't supposed to know that you've dyed your hair.
I don't care. They can visually see it.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Like,
know. Some people can't tell. You know what I've noticed? And this
Really?
is the thing that comes from having gone to art school and learned painting. Is that I can immediately tell when someone's hair is dyed because, especially as they get older, is because your skin color also changes. So when you're an older person and you dye your hair the color that it used to be when you were young, it doesn't match the skin
Doesn't
tone.
look right.
You're supposed to go lighter, even if you're still trying to get rid of the grays, but it doesn't work because all of a sudden it's this high contrast thing between the hair and the skin. And it's always like, what are you doing, bro? Just either just go, it's better to just dye it all white, honestly, at that point, if you're worried about different grays, it'll look less weird.
Rock the silver look. I think that looks so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I dyed my hair last night. Wrong color. Accidentally got the wrong color, but hey. YOLO, I guess. My cousin's
I was
saying
looking to
YOLO.
get jet black, but it's just regular black. Oh no, how will my goth friends accept me now?
I can't. I don't look washed out and dead enough for them.
So this week is part 2 of how Ventura Boulevard came to be known as Sushi Row. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode, you're going to want to go ahead and do that now, because otherwise you'll have no idea what's happening, and you're going to be asking yourself questions like, where's Ventura Boulevard? Or like, what's a sushi?
What's sushi?
Yeah, covered all that. But just a quick recap. Alleged samurai chef, quote unquote, Takichi Kato came to LA in the early 1920s, and he opened a fancy pants restaurant called Kawafuku that was a hub for all prominent Japanese people as well as movie stars. But he was getting older, and after his stint in the internment camps of WW2, he decided to hand the place over to a guy named Tokijiro Nakashima, who wore a Stetson hat and drove around in a pink Cadillac. Don't forget.
Right. Icon.
Nakashima kept the menu catered to Western palates because, after all, he's still in America and it's the 1950s. And meanwhile, a former officer of the Imperial Japanese Army and a Depression-era Jewish salesman loved by Richard Nixon meet at a Chicago trade show in 1964. They become BFFs. Noritoshi Kanai and Harry Wolf Jr. go on a research trip to Japan and decide that Tokyo-style nigiri sushi was going to be the next big thing. Bada bing, bada boom. Now you're all caught up.
I'm so glad you did that.
Good. I'm always so depressed when I do the summary at the beginning of a 2-parter in the second part. And I'm like, it took me 3 pages of notes to get through the first episode. And then I do it all in 3 sentences. And I'm like, what am I doing?
You're summarizing your previous work. It's great. Good.
It's basically
good
what
job.
I need to know. So when I last left off, they basically decided that sushi was going to be the thing that they bring to the States. So Kanai and Harry, or Canary, as I coined them.
That's right. That's their couple name that we gave.
Yeah, that's their Benefer.
The tabloid name.
Yes. Canary, as I coined them, come home. They got to figure out how they're going to make this whole sushi thing work in America. And lucky for them, there was a few things that happened around the same time which allowed them to pull it off. So one was on the importing side. So a couple of things. It's refrigerated shipping containers, regular and direct trans-Pacific flights, and the globalization of Japan's fishing fleet would make it feasible for Canary to have a primo fish option for all of their customers, which simply would have been impossible like even a few years earlier.
Right. Well, that's the perfect time then.
It's literally the perfect time. Yeah. And then also California is the first place that these ships are going to as they make their way back east. So California could just be like, I'll take that. I got this. They're there. They're first in the line for it. So it's perfect.
Nice. Which
is kind of crazy to consider that the fish side was the thing that they had really like nailed as soon as they got here. And you think it would have been the harder part.
Which is...
No, I'm saying I would have thought that like managing the fish side of it, because there's so many varieties of fish and there's so like the freshness and all that stuff. I would figure that would have been the harder part of it as opposed to the other ingredients that go into that kind of sushi.
Right. But it makes sense. Like we are closest to Japan in terms of like international shipping.
Yeah. But as it turns out, much like me on a weekly basis, Canary were on the verge of a rice emergency.
I was gonna say a mental breakdown.
Yep.
But that was yeah.
The rice
Get this man
emergency.
some rice. Stat. We're losing him.
Just,
losing
it's but it's just them putting
Yeah.
rice directly into my
Just
body
shoveling
every
it
time.
into you.
Yeah,
Just
just
shaking
like
you. Kaveh, wake up!
yeah, and
Please
I'm
wake
like,
up! Go on.
what's it called? EKG? No, not EKG.
Yeah.
The jumpy.
No, you know.
Yeah, the
chest
from now on, it's the
buzzers.
rice machine, is what I'm calling it. It's the rice jumper. It's like the car jumper, like in the back of your car when your batteries
Jumpstart your
die.
rice.
My rice in my body.
This man has a dangerously low level of rice in his bloodstream.
The paramedics show up with a rice jumper for me.
Like, we lost
Anyway,
another one. And we
Yeah.
lost another rice-specific, staple-based diet.
or they tried
person.
putting like other rice in my body, and I'm like, sorry, it needs to be long grain
This is-
basmati. This is
this
short
is
grain. This
sushi
is not
rice?
going to
No
work. Yeah.
thanks.
It does not fit with his body type. He's going to die.
It's clogging his veins. He needs basmati.
It's too sticky. It needs to separate once it gets into the bloodstream.
That's been this week's episode of Rice
Yeah.
Emergency.
Rice Emergency, the Kaveh Taherian story. That's going to be the name of my autobiography, is Rice
Yes!
Emergency.
Rice Emergency.
The Kaveh Taherian story. Okay. Anyway, so you see, at the time, importing high quality rice from Japan would have cost an arm and a leg. This is, of course, 1964, 1965. It's not as easy. As we mentioned in the, or as I mentioned in the episode where I talked about the Thai Select program, about all these Thai
Right.
chefs that had come to the United States, they're like, you kind of have to improvise, you have to make substitutions. You're not necessarily able to get exactly those things. Again, funny to me that like fish is being refrigerated and thrown into these containers and being imported from Japan, but rice was the thing that was the hardest one to get.
Right.
This is the part
Oh,
that's really bizarre to
crazy.
me.
'Cause even now, getting fresh fish is like sometimes an ordeal. You know what I mean?
Rice is prevalent, yeah. But and forget trying to source like local American rice. It's not going to work for sushi,
No.
especially at that time. You need something stickier than those varieties to help the nigiri keep its form. You can't be making a rainbow roll with like rice-a-roni or Uncle
I was
Ben's or
about to
some
say,
shit. You need like real rice.
rice-a-roni.
Yeah,
The San Francisco treat.
exactly. That's not going to work. I mean,
disgusting.
you could try doing it, I guess. I don't think it's going to hold up. You're going to have to put like Elmer's glue in it or something to make it all hold together.
You have to glue minute rice inside of some seaweed. Anyway.
But lucky for Canary, someone in the Central Valley was about to drop the hottest rice track of 1962. Enter
Ooh.
Coda Farms.
Oh, the Coda Farms?
Do you know Coda Farms? Have you heard
No.
of them? They are actually
Not
like
at all.
legendary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in me that are they still around?
Yes.
Okay.
In
Probably
fact, I was
some.
reading about how they just changed. There's like some ownership thing where like, because they were owned by a single. I'm going to get into all the history of it
Great.
as far as it's relevant to this tab. But apparently they were like, we're stepping down from like day-to-day operations. People were freaking out. Anyway, I'm going to get into the story. So Kisaburo Koda was the son of an actual samurai who later became a
What?
rice miller. So technically he was actually closer to like a samurai chef than anyone.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know samurai were still. I guess that makes sense because it was like 1880 when they stopped really being relevant.
Yeah, I think it was like 1860s, 70s, somewhere around
Okay,
there. So his dad had been a samurai, and he was like, I guess I get a new
Crazy.
job. He becomes a rice miller. So he's around the same era as what's his name, Kato, who had opened the Kawafuku restaurant. So he's kind
Got
of grown up in the same time. He also comes to let me back up here. So Koda's born in Japan in 1882, and he immigrates to California in his mid-20s and began farming rice in like the late 1910s on leased land in Northern California. And he basically is like, okay, I kind of want my own farm. I want to get into this a little bit more. But of course, this is the 1910s and teens. So people are like, I'm not going to sell land to an Asian person. That would not be allowed. So this poor guy, he just has to keep going south, like further and further to like find someone that will sell him some plot of land so that he can start growing his own rice. And eventually he reaches an area called South Dos Palos. And eventually there, someone sells him, I don't know, a few thousand acres of land.
Nice.
And this
and
is where
only
Coda Farms is born.
trees. There's only 2 trees on that land.
Dos Palos? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Yeah, Dos Palos is 2 sticks, but
2
they use
sticks?
it to reflect. Palo Alto just means tall stick, but
don't
they
think
use
I
that as like tree.
It's funny that I speak some Spanish, but like I've
Yeah.
never, it's like when I can't translate things in my brain because I just think of it as like, oh, it's
It's that.
It's Los
Los
Altos.
Gatos or
yeah,
Palo
exactly.
Alto.
Los Feliz. And I'm like, oh, right, it is cats.
Yeah, it means the happy. Or like my favorite is Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah.
It just means rat's mouth. Isn't that the best?
It is funny when you think about it like that.
Rat's mouth, Florida.
Sorry, Los Gatos, not Los Feliz I was thinking of.
Los Gatos. You mean Los Gatos.
Los Gatos. Anyway, so South Dos Palos is where he moves to, and that's where he's able to make his farm. And it's a pretty good little business until, of course, World War II, when once again, Coda and his family and everybody all got, they got to go on an unpaid internment time off. Is like sort of how the government's putting
internment. That's so sad. Okay, man.
Also, it's like internment camp. It's like it's not rebranding, but it's like it's an internment camp. It's not
a concentration camp. It's
camp, right?
A bunch of concentrated people in an internment camp.
In an area.
In one area. I think we should just start calling it a concentrate. They're concentration camps. They're not internment camps.
Yeah. So over the course of these the two parts of this tab, every time I read something, it's like, and then this person had to go into an internment camp, and then this person had to go to an internment camp. It's like every time. Yeah. Shameful part of our history. Anyway, so they get to go on
and shameful part of
our
history.
Exactly. Yeah. Unpaid internment time off. That's whatever they're going to start putting it on as now. I mean, listen, I can't get into this right now, but they're building like ICE facilities and where the internment camps used to be. And it's absolutely driving me insane.
Yeah, they're reusing old internment camps.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is happening? There's no control. Yep. Much of their land and equipment had just basically been sold off. People just sort of like scrapped it for parts.
That is,
They were totally hosed. And
have you
there's
ever read
just
about,
like
sorry, I keep derailing, but have you ever read
go
about
ahead.
Japantown in San Francisco?
In San Francisco? No, I haven't read that much about it.
It's smallish today, but it used to be like this huge thriving place until the internment camps, and like most of Japantown was wiped out and then just bought and sold by a bunch of like, other San Franciscans, and it kind of wiped out Japantown. But there's this whole historical thing down in Japantown in San Francisco. You guys should go see if you're in the area. It's fascinating and sad.
Perhaps that's a tab you can do one day. I'd be interested in hearing that.
All right. It's one of my favorite places.
Yeah. Oh, I love Japantown.
So good.
In San Francisco, I just never really looked into the history of it, but obviously that
used
makes
to be
sense.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, they come back and they're like, most of the farm's gone. We only got a little bit left. What are we going to do? We got to figure out a way to stay alive. And speaking of staying alive, this is the part of the tab where I almost drove myself off a cliff, and I have way too much information now about long and short and medium grain rices now, and what kind needs what kind of growing conditions and amylose content and glycemic indexes, and my head is going to explode. And I completely got derailed and went way too much into this because I couldn't quite get an answer I couldn't get a straight answer of what I was looking for in the reading that I was doing. And unfortunately, when you're doing a show like this, where you're just reading stuff, you're not talking to a specific person.
Right.
It becomes really hard. And I'm like, oh, this is how journalism works, is then you go and talk to an expert and ask them about stuff. But there's not enough. There wasn't enough time for me. Yeah. We are not journalists.
Again, we're not journalists. Okay, guys?
Nope. But I figured I'll do my best
now
to
you're
explain
a rice
it.
Expert.
I'm a rice. I mean, I was a living rice expert, but like in terms of like living it in my life. But now I have a little bit of knowledge about it. But even then, it's like whatever. I'm gonna give you like a little primer about like why this mattered, what they did, and I figured maybe our tens of farmer listeners who are on tractors or whatever, like as they're tilling on their 3-point hitches, might have some feedback about this, and they can let us know. Email us at 500opentabs@gmail.com if you have if there's gaps in this that you think I need to know, or if you just have cool rice facts I'd like to know. So,
because inexplicably, people who are experts in things listen to this show. So
insane. I do not understand why.
Tell us your expertise.
Very strange. So in 1948, two plant breeders named Hughes Williams and Jenkins Jones co-developed Calrose, which was a medium grain Japanese type rice, which was an offshoot of the Cal Pearl variety. And for whatever reason, Calrose did better in California's climate and had a higher yield, so it became very popular. Right? This is like after World War II, around 1948. Then, according to the Coda Farms website, Coda Farms hired Williams to help oversee their rice breeding program, because the Codas understood that they had to come up with some like new shit in order to survive, like I said. So Williams, he brought his Calrose seed to the farm and conducted extensive cross breeding for varietal improvement. His most promising cross with a Middle Eastern variety tasted much better than Calrose and possessed other desirable traits. Field yields and milling quality were high for that era, and that strain came to be known as KR55, and it was further perfected for South Dos Palos' microclimate and soil type through traditional selection. And eventually, Coda Farms starts marketing that strain of rice as Kokuho Rose, right?
Okay.
That's the name of the rice that was very famous at this time.
Okay.
Kokuho Rose is bred to be a higher quality, it's tastier, it's sticky, and it's basically a great substitute for having to import authentic short grain rice from Japan. So, long story short, Coda had Japanese rice, but they needed to bring a Middle Easterner in to make that shit feel more bougie.
You can't just have straight Asian short grain rice. You gotta bring it's
like this podcast. You gotta bring the Mina guy to just make it like bougie and like, this is a little bit more fancy.
Some, I don't know, gild it a little bit.
Designer. We need designer stuff in this rice. We need to up the ante.
From all the Persian memes I end up seeing because of my algorithm, I have gleaned that there is a huge focus on designer attire.
Anytime you bring Middle Eastern anything into anything, it's just going to bougie it up. That's just how we roll, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. That's just, it's unavoidable.
I bring the trash, so it evens out to a nice,
it's a great balance. I love it. It's perfect. So that's basically Kokuho Rose becomes this perfect option, and it's sourced locally. And like I said, I lost my mind on this side quest. There's way more information that I learned, but that's basically the most, again, I hate doing research. I don't hate doing research. I love doing research, but I hate when you're like trying to do research for forever. And I'm like, I spent 3 hours trying to understand this. And then I have to write it in like 3 sentences. And you're like, oh, cool. That's it.
Or you're like, actually, this has nothing to do with the wider picture. And I have to mention it so I didn't waste my time. But I don't know.
I had to find it. But also it was my opportunity to learn about rice. So like I said, Kokuho Rose equals good. And Kanai he goes there and he tries it at the farm because they're trying to look for an option of like what they can import into all these sushi places, this potential sushi restaurant. And he eats it and he's like, hell yeah, this can totally work. Like, ship it, love it. Let's keep going. Let's do this. And so now he's got the fish connect. He's got the rice connect. But what he doesn't have is an actual restaurant.
And here we go.
Canary's obviously not going to build their own restaurant. These guys are importers. And he's like, I'm more of like a nuts and bolts guy. I can't get wrapped up in all that, like, making things. I got shit to do. I got to like bring
Billy
this
Bob?
over here. Everyone's the same character. I just have one voice that I do
Billy
over and
Bob's
over again.
back, and he is a Japanese rice importer. You
know what? Billy Bob would be a Japanese rice importer in addition, because after,
he'd be involved in this.
I absolutely agree. Listen, what's canon in our story now is that he's going to have a relationship with Billy Bob where he calls him and he's like, oh, listen, I know you're doing really well in the cheese importing and the cheese. How about we get into rice?
And the being an actor. Just kidding. I think I made the joke once that he is Billy Bob Thornton. And that's just part of his immortal journey, is that at one point in his 400-year life, he's been an actor.
Conversely, I'd like to think that Billy Bob Thornton is named after Billy Bob the cheesemonger. It could be either way. Let us know in the comments which one you'd like it to be.
Billy Bob the cheesemonger and Billy Bob the rice monger are the same person. 100 years apart. No, it'd be the same era, right?
That's what I'm saying. This would be right around. No, kind of. Yeah, it would be sort of be. This would be Canary and Billy Bob would have talked at some point. Actually, no, you're right. I think they would have kind of crossed paths at some point because
we haven't brought Billy Bob up in like 6 months.
It's been a long time. I'm glad you remembered him. I've totally forgotten because I just keep stacking other jokes on top of other ones, and I forget whatever it was that we were doing at the beginning of this show, or even like 3 episodes ago. Yeah,
that's the worst part about all of this. I mean, this is really fun. And there's a lot of worst parts about a lot of this. But the worst part is that we continually forget our own jokes.
Yep.
To the point where, like, it could really serve us well to keep these jokes going, but we can't. Yeah. So it's thankfully, up to you, listeners.
The listener, thankfully we have a Discord, which if you haven't done it, go ahead and join it, because people in the Discord just run with them. People make, like, spreadsheets of stuff.
Yeah.
And what was the thing that Alyssa made?
Spreadsheet. That was like made a timeline that we haven't updated in 4 months.
And then Joe made a wiki. Didn't he make us like a show wiki?
Yeah.
Joe did.
We have a show wiki.
That's what we should do. We should put the link up to the show wiki because, of course, we're too insane and dumb to update that thing. But I feel like that's supposed to be a user thing.
I couldn't figure out how to log into it.
I don't know. But it would be really, listen, I'm actually going to put this out as a formal request.
Yeah,
If you're listening, if
please.
you are actually listening to the show and you like this, it would be really awesome if you guys got involved in that and just started updating and like putting stuff in there so we could go back and remember all the crap that we've talked about. Yeah.
Because I'd love to remember.
Yeah. Or be able to see it visually because it just exists in the ether. Anyway, so they don't want to take the, again, starting a restaurant, that's a lot of risk. And it's just for this one thing that's kind of unproven and they're not even sure if it's going to work in the first place. So they're thinking. And then they're like, we have a dream. What if, and I'm just spitballing here. What if there was an iconic restaurant that already existed in LA that had a lot of space where you could just slide in and make like a little sushi corner and see if the public would bite? What if something like that existed? Wouldn't that be amazing? And they're like, do we know of anywhere that checks all those boxes? Hannah, any ideas?
I think it's the one we talked about last week.
Kawafuku.
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out Burger. That's where they decide that they're like double raw. I don't know what In-N-Out sushi would be.
Double raw sounds diabolical.
Don't order a double raw at In-N-Out. That's just going to give you like a uncooked burger.
Salmonella burger, dude. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
No, Kawafuku, of course. It's
Kawafuku.
like they're like, okay, that seems like a good idea. We should go to Kawafuku. They got the cred, they got the space, they can maybe take this risk. And so they go to see Nakashima and his pink caddy, and they lay it all out. And they're telling him the plan. They're getting all excited. They pull out their cigars and they're getting ready to celebrate. But something unexpected happens.
Okay.
Nakashima has the exact same reaction as Kanai did at the beginning. He's like, are you insane? White people aren't going to eat raw fish. Are you stupid? What are you doing? Get out of my restaurant.
This guy will.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Neither of them are wrong. I mean, it is insane to think that Americans eat sushi to the extent that they do. But yeah, again, he was like, this is not going to make sense for people in LA. This is crazy. And Americans aren't going to eat this. They're going to think it's like, you're going to get sick. It's weird. And this is like 1965-ish, right? So again, cigarette flavored Jello. That's all anyone's eating. That's like they're eating like deep fried hamburgers.
Are hand rolled cigarettes in the Jello. They're not going to eat a sushi roll.
Or rolls of quarters, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who you are. So people love the taste of that metal in there. Anyway, go on.
I miss it. Anyway, so
What? Do you have a past career of eating quarters?
Yeah, rolls at a time. Give me a lot of stomach aches. So they can't convince him and they leave. And they're like, well, I guess that's not happening. But nevertheless, Canary, they insisted. And this goes on for 6 months. They keep going back, being like, dude, we should open a sushi bar here. We should do this. And he's like, nope, I'm not doing that. Please leave me alone. I'm trying to drive around in my pink Cadillac and make money. I'm not trying to like tank my business. And
I also imagine that it would be like one of those things where it's like, we just got done with this war where everyone wanted us all dead. Exactly. I need to keep this as stable and American as I can so that I'm not looked at as quote unquote the enemy or too ethnic or whatever.
Or even then it's like, you got to figure, I don't know how much any kind of like health department standards were set there, but there's probably some sort of a risk where it's like people who are like suspicious or like, angry about something, they could just be like, that person's selling raw. Like they can come up with any reason to come shut you down, much like now
blame
if they
sickness
want.
on
It's I mean, they did this in the 80s with Chinese food as well, and like we talked about this, and like I guess I've talked a lot about different Asian foods, funny enough, on this podcast, but like there's always some sort of threat or scare where people are just like, oh, there's MSG in this, like we need to shut this place down because of this.
MSG is just like a regular anyway,
whatever. I can't get into all that because I'm just going to start complaining for the next 10 years. The point is is that Nakashima understandably is like, no, this is not a good idea. I don't want to put my neck out on the chopping block like that. Also, this could tank the business. We don't know. And they go on for months and months and months until eventually Nakashima's wife basically just weighs in and is like, bro, just try it. Whatever. It's like, you don't have to change the entire restaurant. Just give it a shot. See if it works. And as I know, as a married man, eventually you do have to listen to your beautiful wife.
Eventually.
Because eventually, as much as you resist it, she probably knows better than you. And that's been a consistent theme. Maybe, right?
You know my thoughts on that, where I'm always just like, no, don't tell me I'm right all the time. Fight me about it, please.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of times, do listen. Everybody, fellas, ladies, listen to your wives every once in a while.
Yeah. Listen to your wife. Yeah, I shouldn't say if you're a fella. Just in general, if you have a wife, if you're fortunate enough to have a wife, maybe listen to them
seriously.
sometimes.
Wives are great.
Yeah. I love mine. I'm glad I married her. Anyway, so Nakashima is like, cool. Okay, fine. The wife says it. I'm going to do it. Happy wife, happy life, right? So in 1965, Kawafuku cuts out a special little area that they kind of refer to as a sushi bar, which is what we think of now as like a sushi bar.
Oh, yeah.
And Kanai, I think, brings over like a chef from Japan. He kind of sets it all up. And this sushi bar opens to great success. People are feeling it.
Really?
And it's gained a little cult following. It's not like, there's not like lines out the block for it, but it definitely is like, it's new, it's novel, it's interesting. People in Little Tokyo are like, oh shit, you can get like legit Japanese food here. Like these are sushi rolls. Like, I haven't had this since I was whatever, like back in Japan or something. Like people who are familiar with it sort of start. And then, just like anything else, there's word of mouth where like, oh, maybe you've got a Japanese friend or something who's just like, oh, check it out. Like there's this good place that has like sushi. You're like, what's sushi? I don't know. But so like that kind of spreads.
Yeah.
Goes a little bit here, a little bit there. And pretty soon a couple of other sushi spots start to open up around it in Little Tokyo with like kind of different ideas and different takes on it. And most notably, I'm sorry. So then eventually it starts, and then there's a couple of them that pop up out of Little Tokyo. Most notably, in 1969, there's a place that opens up called Osho Sushi, which was on Pico Boulevard near the Fox lot. And
okay.
All of a sudden,
I see where this is going.
Yeah, all these hotshot celebs are getting lunch around the lot, obviously, and by a stroke of luck, the actual king of musicals, Mr. Yul Brynner from The King and I, of course, he goes.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, he's the king. He goes to Osho Sushi, and he has sushi, and he's like, oh my God, this is life-changing. This is the greatest food I've ever had. He is a full-on sushi boy. Like, he just loses it. Complete convert. And he's just anyone who will listen, he's telling everyone, everywhere about how great sushi is, etc., etc., etc. And suddenly,
that's awesome.
Anyone who hadn't had sushi couldn't have their head be higher than Yul's.
Is that from the musical as well?
Yes, it is. Shout out to my musical splaining listeners. You guys will know what I'm talking about.
Shout out to you guys.
King and I is wild if you've not seen that one. That one is actually legitimately an insane movie. It's great.
Is it the one where I think I know. I think I have. No, I haven't. Never mind.
Yul Brynner in that movie is probably like one of my favorite performances from that whole era. He's totally hilarious and insane in that movie. Yeah, he's great. If you haven't seen musicals? The King and I, go listen to the King and I episode of Musical Splaining from season 3, I guess. I don't know. I love that one. That one was a lot of fun. That movie was crazy. So anyway, Yul Brynner, he's like the sushi poster boy in Los Angeles. And so then it starts to kind of like, oh, it's like, did you know in the celeb magazines that like Yul Brynner loves to eat this new food called sushi? Have you heard of it?
And everyone's like, anything Yul does, I'll do.
I mean, it's Yul Brynner too. He's like a big deal, right?
It's a big deal, especially that era.
Yeah.
He's kind of also a heartthrob too. Like people, I don't know, one of those.
So he's like the sort of accidental sushi influencer of his day. Wow. And in the 1970s, momentum continues. The Senate issues a report called Dietary Goals for the United States that blamed fatty, high cholesterol foods for heart attacks and shit, and recommended greater consumption of fish and grains. And suddenly, cigarette-flavored Jell-O is no longer on the top of the food pyramid.
Cigarettes, famous for causing congenital heart failure.
And around the same time, health experts also began to promote the benefits of omega-3 fatty acids, which, as you may know, is abundant in fish. And again, all this is happening at the same time. And meanwhile, in California, Alice Waters is spearheading the California cuisine movement, which we now see is like very prevalent and like, omnipresent. But it's kind of like, it's the locally sourced, organic, seasonal, blah, 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 all that. That was pioneered by our girl Alice, which if you don't know, she started Chez Panisse in Berkeley. Alice Waters is a hugely important figure in California cuisine. Maybe I'll pull up a tab on Alice Waters at some point. But no, this is the whole like California food identity is like, it's kind of starts here. And that happens, this is all happening around the same time. And if there's one thing that Hollywood loves, it's an emerging food trend. And by the early 1980s, sushi restaurants began popping up in very close proximity to major studios like CBS, Disney, Warner's, and Universal, which are all basically around here in the Valley.
And they make it great, like to feed a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
That would be really easy and a fun way to do it. Just like, okay, here you go, big platter of sushi for everybody.
Yeah. And it's light, and the suits, all these executives are stoked. They're trying to like wine and dine, like Scott Baio or whoever, like Mr. Belvedere. They're like, we got to get you a deal for this, but like, let's go down. Like, we're going to go.
Scott Baio. Out of all of the people you could have chosen.
He was in charge in the 80s. I don't know if you remember.
Okay, I don't know.
Charles was in charge. You don't remember the show Charles in Charge? Anyway,
no,
whatever.
I'm
Mr.
too
Belvedere.
young.
Mr. Belvedere was a big deal. He's probably like getting wined and dined on Ventura Boulevard. Anyway, all these people are taking meetings. They're all in the Valley. They're all by whatever, CBS, Disney, Warner's. Sushi's the next big thing. They're trying to show off that like, oh, I'm like an executive working for Warner Brothers. I'm like cool and hip, and we're going to get you the best deal. We're going to take you to the best food. We're going to take you to like the cleanest, newest, fanciest type of food, which of course is why all of these restaurants that were serving sushi popped up over and over and over again. And now there's a market for it, and it spreads all the way down.
Is that why it's all the
Ventura
same area?
Boulevard.
It's just because there was that much of a demand for sushi from all these studios because I was wondering, like, it's all on the same street, right? A lot of it is.
That's the highest concentration. I mean,
those original ones.
To be fair, like in it's everywhere in Los Angeles. There's sushi everywhere in LA.
Okay.
But the highest concentration of like in a row of sushi restaurants is on Ventura Boulevard. And like I said in the last episode, it is the highest concentration of sushi restaurants outside of the entire country of Japan. Is specifically here on Ventura Boulevard. So so just to kind of recap, it's a confluence of a lot of different things where there's this like explosion of all, you know, there's the health standards that are changing. There's the and then there's what's it called? Their culture is changing. And then of course, all these different things that can facilitate the production of that much, you know, locally grown rice and bringing the fish to the United States. And then it becomes this trend in the culture where people are like really obsessed with it. And like there are people with money in studios who are trying to basically like show off, and they like sushi, and then it becomes a trend. So then, you know, I was tempted to go into like how it spread across the country.
Yeah.
But I had to stop myself, as you said, as you start reading about all this other kind of crap. And you're like, no, the point of this tab was to talk about how Ventura Boulevard became Sushi Row. So and this is why LA was the capital, or sorry, the epicenter of how sushi came to the United States before it spread out.
That's cool.
But that's not all of it too. Also, I'll just add one more thing. Don't forget, this is California. In California, we love fusion and like coming up with our own shit. And all these sushi chefs who would have been way more conservative if they were back in, you know, like in Japan, if they were like in Tokyo and stuff. They're in America, they're in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of places that are popping up. So naturally, there's a lot more crazy competition about sushi and like how they're going to cater to people. And, you know, white people, you guys, you want to see something comforting and familiar.
Yeah.
So these
and
chefs
beige,
got an idea.
please.
Right. So chefs were like, you know what? What if we took these nori rolls and we flipped them inside out so that white people can see the white rice on the outside?
What?
So that they're not threatened by...
Genius. That is genius. Because they're right. They're right.
And people liked that. People were like, "Oh, this is familiar. This is kind of calming. I feel like I see myself in this food." Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, we're so predictable.
And of course, also now it's like white rice on the outside of the roll. You're like, it's kind of like a blank canvas. So now they're starting to add like crazy ingredients on top. They're starting to put stuff on top of the roll. They're starting to put like different sauces on it. They're trying to give it garnishes. So it starts to feel even I mean, I don't know if people listening have been to Los Angeles. Obviously, rolls get crazy everywhere you go now, but especially in LA, you start to get like these insane variations of rolls, and they're hyper specific, and they're like almost regional compared to like what neighborhood you're in. And like, it's really cool.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, every different sushi place will have its own specific kind of roll that, again, it's because it's like, well, why would I go eat sushi here as opposed to like 2 stores down?
That's what I was wondering. Like, why is there there's such a high concentration? Like, how do you choose which one to go to, and how do they not just compete with each other until, I don't know, how do they not go out of business?
Where did I go? I forget. I'm drawing a blank on the place in Ventura. It's great though, but they had kumquat on one of their dishes, and it was like crazy good.
Goodness,
I was like,
you finished that word, because I was like, they had Sorry, what? I latched onto it immediately.
Yeah. No, it was kumquat on, like, it was like kumquat on some sort. I don't think it was a roll. I think it was like a just straight fit. But it was like, I was like, you would only come up with this in California. It was so good. It was incredible. It's Teru Sushi.
Teru
Right next to
sushi.
Laurel Tavern on Ventura. I went. They had. I can't
Okay.
remember exactly what it was, but I just remember it was kumquat and sushi. I was like, this is insane, and it's incredible. And I
good.
was like obsessed with it, which I know makes me sound really basic, but it's just some crazy flavors. Never thought to pair them together.
Basic things are basic because they're good
Exactly.
and people like them.
And
Except
listen,
for
I
Taylor
don't know.
Swift.
Exactly, that's true. I don't know. Maybe people find it like, an affront to whatever. But that's kind of what California's about. Some people
Yeah.
were like, oh, we didn't have enough tuna, so we put avocado instead because it's kind of fatty. And then that becomes like more of a prominent thing. And, again, I could get way into the weeds about this and go on forever. But the moral of the story
I'm
is that's
curious about avocado on sushi rolls. No, okay. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
these are all just kind of like different California things. I mean, of course, this is the original avocado toast. If you think about it, is the
That's
avocado on sushi in California.
We have fields and fields and miles of avocado trees.
Yep.
I know.
That's how it
Tuna
works.
doesn't grow on trees, but avocados do. Ew! Imagine a
grows
tuna tree.
That would save so many people's lives, although they would figure out a way to like patent it and not let it be planted in
course.
areas with people experiencing food
It'd be
insecurity.
like
It's
diabetes
terrible.
medicine, where it's like we're gonna gatekeep this. Tuna
Gross.
trees are for the rich only.
Yep.
Anyway,
So I'm gonna go ahead and land this plane because I've been going for a little bit. But that's basically how sushi comes to Ventura Boulevard. But I got to wrap up the part of the Canary bromance.
yeah.
So technically, Harry wasn't actually an employee of Mutual Trading Company. He was hired as a consultant. Right?
Okay.
And their deal was that Harry would receive a commission that amounted to a percentage of the sales his efforts generated for Mutual Trading. And eventually, though, Kanai wanted to renegotiate the pact and pay Wolf a smaller share because it was getting crazier and crazier. But Wolf, Harry, he's not having any of it.
No.
And like all men of that age, that was it.
Yeah.
And their stubbornness wouldn't budge. And they basically like at some point just broke it off
No.
and never talked again.
What? They just
Yep.
didn't talk again? It's like, oh,
never
come on,
talked again.
guys. You lost your friendship because of this? Oh.
Yeah. And Harry died like in the 90s without ever reconciling. But he didn't have like a bad life or anything. He just was like, but whatever brief bromance that they had. But I guess the guilt kind of hung
have
over.
the sushi importing.
Exactly.
Harry.
But I guess the guilt kind of hung over Kanai's head as many people were reaching out to him as they started to do research about this tab and like how sushi exploded in LA. And Kanai never took credit. He was always like, it was Harry's idea. He's like, it was not my idea to bring this. So even after they hadn't talked for like 23 years, even after he died, he like made sure. And I guess
good
he
man.
kind of like reconciled with his grandkids. So like it sort of has a happy-ish ending. There's an article in the LA Times where they talk about it. But I want to give a quick shout out to the writer from the LA Times who looks like he had written many of the articles that had to do with this. It's a guy named Daniel Miller.
Okay.
And so there was like a good 3 or 4 articles I pulled specifically from the LA Times that Daniel Miller seemed to have done all the research on. So shout out to Daniel Miller.
Cool.
He was very helpful
It's like
on
his
it.
interest.
It would be awesome to meet that guy and be like, can you come on the show and do the proper tab about the history of sushi in LA? Because I just decimated the entire thing and screwed it up.
I thought that was good. You know what I realized recently is we're communicators. We're not teachers.
Isn't that a teacher's job?
No, but like we just communicate the broad idea of
strokes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than being experts on it.
That's true. Despite experts apparently listening to this show, which is insane.
Leave.
Listen, if you're an expert, do not
cancer.
listen to us. Yeah. Go make the tuna tree. Go invent the tuna tree.
And make it accessible for everyone. Open patent the tuna tree. How about that? Let everyone have it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. That was good, dude. That was really fun.
Very thorough. Thank you. Also, real quick. I just wanted to write a little blurb at the end about Kokuo Rose, which was the fancy rice that Coda Farms made. Because apparently there's a lot. This is where I got hung up on the episode because a lot of information about Cal Rose and Cal Pearl, right? So don't forget. So the guy that they hired, Williams, to come in and help breed the what ended up becoming
Pearl.
Cal Rose.
Right.
Right. He went off and he went back and he kept working with his version of so apparently a lot of rice is mislabeled as Cal Rose when it's actually not Cal Rose.
Oh,
Because he
interesting.
kept going and like doing stuff with it because so there's a difference between Cal Rose and Kokua Rose. So Kokua Rose is the specific
Okay.
rice that they were making at Coda
In that
Farms.
area that worked best at Palos, whatever,
Yes.
Dos
Dos Pal-
Palos.
Des Palos, because Williams went on and was trying to make rice that was more tenable for the climate, that would produce like a higher yield, but it didn't necessarily have the same kind of stickiness and flavor profile. So again, Coda is trying to make something a little bit more niche and what's the word I'm thinking of? Not boutique, but like they're trying to make a better quality. So they're doing it very specifically, but because it kind of came from the same strain originally, Williams was able to kind of keep working on it. So people mislabel it. So the KR55 strain.
Oh, strain. Is this
Right.
a pandemic now? A rice pandemic? Oh, we got to get a rice emergency expert in here.
So let's see. I just wanted to say Cal Rose. Okay, so just the little disclaimer here. Today, Cal Rose is a coined phrase for high-yielding, bland-tasting, medium-grain rice. Williams and Jones's original Cal Rose was further developed at the State Rice Research Center in Biggs, California, primarily for higher yield, with taste and quality as secondary considerations. Modern descendants have been packaged as Cal Rose since its initial introduction. While KR55 and Cal Rose do not share a common ancestor, saying Cocoa Rose is Cal Rose is a variety is like saying that a thoroughbred racehorse and a donkey are the same thing. This is the shade they're throwing on their website.
That's rude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you can use the thing under all those words is a seething rage from both sides.
Do not associate us with this. We have worked hard. Anyway, just to finish this up, our KR55 has been used in California rice breeding programs since the early 1960s. Upon the successful commercial introduction of Kokua Rose, the Coda family shared their seed with all the major rice breeding programs in California. Today, any medium grain Japanese type rice found in California that calls itself premium has the KR55 strain in its lineage. An example of a modern high yield descendant is Nishiki brand rice produced by JFC. So, if you're trying to get it, the premium makes a difference here because the actual seed itself is meant to be a different kind of rice than the other one. Anyway, I'm losing my mind. I need to stop talking about rice.
Rice? Let's shelve that rice.
Let's shelve the rice. That's the... why have I learned so much about seeds and rice? Why do I know all of this?
Because this is how our brains work, dude.
Idiots.
And you know what? You'll remember this for a long time. That's the thing. Maybe. It's going to be one of those things where you'll just like, thank you. That was amazing. Who are you? Me? Getting like into the weeds on things? I love that,
Getting into the rice patties to make sure it works and looks correct and what kind of yields. Anyway, so I wanted to know what made it work better in California as opposed to not. Why don't we grow more long grain versus short grain or whatever?
Yeah.
If you got... I'm sure somebody listening at some point knows something about rice better than I do. That's not a very hard bar to clear. But if you have something that you can clarify or correct in terms of what I was talking about, please. I actually would really like to know. Send us an email, 500opentabs@gmail.com.
Please. I'm curious clarify. As well. I like the idea of seeing how things translate over to California soil and how it all... Because this place, you can grow literally anything here. And it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
To see what can grow here and how that turns out. Anyway, did you know that I had never had basmati rice until I was like 17?
I did not know that. No, I'm not surprised.
That's crazy.
That's the case for a lot of people, actually. I've understood. I don't think these days as much. Or again, I don't know. I've been in this city for so long, but
no, I think you can get it. I mean, I remember when I started buying it in college because I had it for the first time, and I was like, "This is superior rice, in my opinion. I like it a lot." And now you made me buy that one kind, and now I've been converted to that kind. Thank you. It is so good. Anyway,
it's great.
Rice expert Kaveh Taherian with us here today, and thank you for telling us all about rice because that was really fascinating. I mean it.
Good.
So,
I'm glad it wasn't all in vain.
No, none of this is. All of this is, and none of this is. Okay.
True. Yeah.
Before I get into my tab, I just want to remind everyone that we have a Patreon that we put a bunch of extras and funny parts, and there's going to be some cuts from this. I can already tell.
Yes, I went over talking way too much about different varieties of rice that I'm sure will not be crucial for the episode when it releases, but it will definitely be a great extra. If you want to learn more about
rice,
poorly,
please go to Patreon.com.
If you want to pay for misinformation about rice being spread by our idiot co-host Kaveh Taherian,
look. Out of the two of us, you are more qualified to talk about rice than me because you eat more rice, apparently, I guess.
I do.
that's what, if you do something more than someone else, then you're more qualified.
Immediately
That's my logic.
Yep.
So patreon.com/500 open tabs. You'll get a shout out on here if you join. It's $3 a month, which means 10 cents a day. That's like, not too much.
10 cents a day, you can provide this podcaster with a grain of rice for him to survive.
With a hand, feed us. Times are tough, I know, out there for everybody. But if you want to throw some money our way, we'd greatly appreciate it. And you get to be in the little weird club we have going on. And there's going to be even more stuff coming. Anyway.
It's true. Do we have any patrons for this week that we want to shout out, or is no one signed up?
I should go check. We have one new patron, and it is Amber. So shout out to Amber. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for joining, Amber.
Welcome. And should we get into
whatever
I'm going to talk about?
That's my tab. Hannah, what have you got for us this week? I'm very excited to learn about something that has nothing to do with rice. I hope.
Oh, it just, it doesn't have anything to do with rice. It has to do with digestion, though. So,
okay.
Yeah, like I said, last week was a little more of a serious, introspective topic, and this week is not. It's more just like, you'll see.
Good. Because I'm still recovering from last week's tab. I think I texted you a bunch where I'm like, that unraveled me in a way that is not necessarily bad, but I was like, oh, that was a galaxy brain type moment where I was like, he's changed my perception on a lot of things. So thank you for that one. That was great. I can't handle it 2 weeks in a row, though. So you better give me something light.
Don't worry. It'll be like 6 more months before I get some. Anyway, this is completely different than that. So I opened this tab along with many others while on my deep dive about the outlaw Bill Miner that I did a couple weeks ago about Oregon. And this is also Oregon-based, sort of.
Okay.
And it's from the same amazing website that I'm kind of obsessed with called Offbeat Oregon, ran by Finn J.D. John, who also, it turns out, has a podcast. So, Finn, shout out to anyone who might know him. I mean, I'll just email him. But like,
I was going to say, do you like him a lot? We can try to have him on the show.
Yeah,
if you like him. I'm sure we
he's
can
got
reach
a
out.
great voice. He knows everything about every weird thing that has ever happened in Oregon.
Do you think he might be at Rose City?
Ooh.
We
No.
should look into that.
I don't think he's the Comic-Con type. He's like the kind of guy who would know every train kind of guy, but like not in a Comic-Con way, in like his garage is full of found objects kind of way, in a way that mine is. And I mean this as sincerely wonderful, Finn.
Yes.
So if Finn or someone Finn knows is listening, just shout out. I'm also not going to give away the title until the end. And this story kind of needs a little bit of background here and there, so I'm going to jump around a little bit, but bear with me.
Yeah.
So what do you get when you mix a stubborn founding father, who is also a physician with a shaky understanding of medicine and endless access to mercury?
RFK Jr., is that the answer?
Honestly, yeah, a little bit, but no. Something known as Dr. Rush's bilious pills, all right?
I think I've seen that at Trader Joe's. It's really good for you.
Ooh, well, look, I'll just say one thing. You and I need to take some bilious pills on with us.
Does it turn you into a billionaire? I don't like the name bilious.
I wish. No, bilious means like acidic or like full of acid.
Bile.
So.
I was going to say that was going to be my next guess. Is bilious?
It's bile.
It's just not enough bile in your stomach. Take these pills to make you feel like you've been throwing up all day.
It's way worse than that, dude. Are you ready for a picture of these pills?
Great.
These are devastating. Here is a picture of them. They are 4 times the size of a regular aspirin.
Oh, dear Lord. Those just look like Cocoa Puffs that turned green because they were out in like a nuclear blast for too long.
May as well be. So I'm already laughing about this stupid tab. So these pills were 4 times the size of a normal aspirin. And they were sort of like this cure-all of the early 1800s medical field. So they were created by physician and founding father of the United States, Benjamin Rush. Not only was he a signer of the Declaration of Independence, he was also known as the American Hippocrates because of his advancements that he contributed to medicine and psychiatry. So before I can get into his insane pills he created, let's talk about Benjamin Rush, because he is
I don't know much about him.
He is a strange contradiction of a man, where he added a ton to like our understanding of medical issues in a way that it was very progressive for the time. So he was like, hey, we should wash our hands. Hey, we should, not, eat in a dirty area. We should keep our our areas clean and, do surgery after
Yeah.
washing our hands and not with like dirty army surgeon hands, which people were doing. And he had really a progressive views on mental health and addiction, actually, which was really cool for the time because he was like, hey, we shouldn't chain these people up in rooms to like waste away. We should treat them like people. And also, if you're an alcoholic, it's actually a disease. It's not a moral failing, as everyone thought. So he started treating mentally ill people like human beings and being like, you guys can have jobs around the facility.
Yeah.
And he's
and
like,
people
wait a
are like,
second.
you're the crazy one. What are you talking about?
And they're like, what are you doing? You're letting them like drive tractors and do stuff like that?
They're not people. Why would you?
And he noticed they were all getting better.
Yeah, weird how that works.
When you can do something useful and contribute to your own well-being, you tend to do better. And instead of getting like being in freezing cold basement cells. And despite being an abolitionist, he did own one slave, and yet he was like the head of the abolitionist society in Pennsylvania.
Weird.
But he
why the one?
That's the thing. He didn't have, it was just one dude.
At that point, it's just like, what are you even doing?
Why is this? Where'd you get this guy? His name was William, by the way. I don't want to just say slave. William Grubber. And I don't even know what William, like, what did he, were they?
Did he keep around to like be his only friend or something? Like, what is it?
That's what I wondered.
Yeah.
Like, he was really, I don't know. It kind of lost to history because he's, again,
That's
a really
very
strange person, right?
Yeah.
And he was a very well-known abolitionist. And he was, for the time, was like, we need to treat Black people with compassion.
But what is he doing at these abolitionist meetings? He's just showing up and he's like, hold on, my friend William is with me. Like,
sorry,
what?
I bought my friend.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
No, even at the time, people were like, sorry, what?
Are you doing?
Why do you have a slave? Sir? Why are you owning somebody? I thought you were against this. None of us own people. So he had this slave guy. I want to say William. His name was William. And he believed that we should treat Black people and women with the same kindness and care as we treat white men in the medical field, which was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Except he thought this because he thought Black people, that Black skin was like a disease that you could cure.
Oh.
So that they were white underneath,
I
but with
see.
enough medicine and care and help.
He wanted to turn the Nigori rolls inside out as well. He would have loved sushi when it first came to
He would have loved
Ventura
sushi.
Boulevard, where he's like seeing the white rice and he's like, see, we cured it.
Just like us.
Yeah.
So while he was very progressive and he did a lot for medicine, he also
Is
had
that
some
still
bizarre...
progressive? I still feel like
No.
that's...
I meant like with medicine. Like medicine.
No, I'm saying, but in this case,
this.
it's like, it's weird. It's like, it is progressive because he's like, no, we can help Black people, but that's not progressive anymore at that point.
But the reason behind it makes zero sense. And in the end, actually was detrimental to people's human rights. So
yeah.
Like I said, he's a conundrum. To this day, people are just like, why don't get this guy? I don't know. He was also kind of egotistical, and he kind of thought he was like called of God to bring like better healthcare to America, which is great. But also he owned a person.
You're saying his actions though generally were bad, or aside from the owning of the singular slave for some reason?
Here's the thing. He had a lot of forward-thinking ideas on medicine. Like, let's experiment and let's see what works and let's treat people equally. And then you get into the weeds and you're like, yeah, but there's not really equally.
Not for
you're
that
still,
reason.
Yeah, you're still trying to be white supremacist at the end of the day. So I feel bad for William. His one slave, just so weird. Anyway, so he was also controversially a huge proponent of bloodletting. So
I'm not familiar with bloodletting.
So back in ancient Greek philosopher time, they believed that like
boring. Sorry, continue.
No, don't worry. We're going to trash on the Greeks here in just a minute. Don't you worry.
Love it.
But Galen, who was like a philosopher and a physician back in the day, he was like, it was the theory of the four humors: black bile, yellow bile. You're
not talking about comedy, by the way. Sorry,
no,
I'm gonna back up here.
It's way
what are the
worse.
four humors?
So the four humors are
Sorry, maybe this is too many different tabs that we're opening up at once.
No. So the four humors are yellow bile, black bile, blood, and phlegm. And he believed that we needed a balance of all of those in order to maintain health. And so the blood,
there's not enough blood in my like phlegm right now. I need to make sure that it gets like a little
seriously
bit worse. Yeah.
And so, but they also thought this like affected your personality. So like, have you ever heard of somebody described as choleric or melancholic?
Yeah.
Melancholic comes from black bile, meaning
tar. Like
well,
you're coughing up cigarette tar?
Spleen. Like, honestly, I don't know. It makes kind of no sense because we've since disproved this. But he was a huge proponent of this. And this was kind of like dying off by this point. Mm-hmm. But to get equal, like if you have too much blood, sorry.
You gotta drain some of that blood. You got too much in you.
I'm getting too into the, hold on. Let me just find...
Getting too into the humor, as he said.
Yeah. So
I didn't realize that humor had another meaning. I just thought of like humor as funny.
Does. Me too, but it has they're like quality. Honestly, we'll do it. Go look it up, everybody. But it was the standard in medicine for like 1,000, 2,000 years in a lot of areas, and he adhered to something called the heroic depletion theory, which was a method of healing that required going to the extreme of treatment. So if you're going to bloodlet, which is cutting open a vein and draining blood, you got to go like all out and drain way more blood than you would usually drain. Because that would then reset the humors and get you back to the balance of like, whoa, I couldn't figure it out, or bring yourself to vomit or have diarrhea to purge yourself of like yellow bile or
get it all
whatever.
Out.
Get it all out and go to the extreme to do it. And too much blood caused inflammation and fever. So you got to like drain a bunch into a bowl or onto the floor. You know what
this sounds like
sometimes.
To me? This sounds like a scam. He's like, get rid of all the blood in your body and the humor and the bile. I'll sell you it for a subscription fee. $3.99 a month. Every month, I'll send you bile directly to your door. You can drink it. You can inject blood directly into your eyeballs or whatever it is that he says. Listen,
they would try to do blood transfusions.
Yeah. Pretty soon everyone's out of business. The next thing you know, what the hell is his name again?
Benjamin Rush.
Benjamin Rush is the only game in town, and then he raises the prices. And that, my friends, is how tech monopolies currently work.
Yes, absolutely. And kind of healthcare a little bit. Yeah. So too much bile caused constipation. And so you got to give the patient a laxative to get the black bile out, or puke to get the yellow bile out. So just a nightmarish double ender. So like imagine your doctor being like, hey, you need to void yourself of everything at the same time to be better. And then you should be fine. And during the yellow fever epidemic of 1793, Benjamin Rush actually killed more people than he helped using this.
Great.
Using this
not murder. He was bad at his job.
He was bad at it. I think if he had not been involved, more people probably would have survived because he just drained their blood. He's like, this'll do it.
Is he like working in conjunction with vampires at this time or something? He's like, oh, you got to empty out extra blood that he puts in the side, and then he sells it to Lestat or whoever.
Well, and exactly. Well, people were like, you got to stop, dude. We're kind of like moving away from this idea. And he's like, no, because he was very closed off to anything. A physician should not be closed off to new ideas, but he was. And he was stubborn, and he never admitted any of it was bad. And so one of his students actually went on to treat George Washington at the end of George Washington's life.
Great.
Which killed him.
Awesome.
So this guy was indirectly
teaching other people to be idiots as well.
Yeah, they drained too much of George Washington's blood. And anyway, so back to the pills, the bilious pills.
The boner pills.
One of these, the main staple, I wish.
Bilious boner pills.
bilious baseball boy pills.
Bilious baseball boners.
Oh. So one of the main staples in treating people were these aforementioned bilious pills that he created. They were colloquially known as thunderclappers for reasons you will soon understand. They were these giant pills, like I said, made of calomel. Calomel, its actual name is mercury chloride.
Great.
And so he would mix mercury chloride with this plant called the jalap, which I think they keep saying jalap, but it's Spanish, so I think
Jalapi?
It's jalap. Sounds kind of spelled like it. It's a mixture. It's like a root of the Mexican morning glory plant, and it was known to be a powerful natural laxative. And calomel
making you
is
shit
also...
mercury is essentially all he's having you do.
Oh yeah, we're at the shitting mercury part of the journey. Not quite. We'll get to the shitting mercury part of the journey, but calomel, the mercury chloride, is also a powerful laxative. So he pretty much like doubled up these laxatives into these pills, and it was like the colon cleanse of their day. You know,
Man, I could have used any of these every time I go to a convention, and I can't shit for 3 days in a row.
Same. I kept thinking of us the whole time.
That's sweet.
So
you're like, I was reading about people having so much diarrhea that they couldn't function, and it made me think of my friend.
Life-ending diarrhea. And because mercury in that form was relatively stable, large doses of it didn't hurt you as much as small, drawn-out doses of it. So, like, you'd get mercury poisoning, but you wouldn't get it as bad as if you did, like, taking tiny doses. And before I go on, I want to go on a little tiny fun tangent about calomel, aka mercury chloride.
More calomel.
Good one. Are you okay? Are you bored?
I'm just picturing a bunch of boners and diarrhea at the same time while you're throwing up. There's a lot of weird images happening in my head, and I'm trying to stay focused.
Yeah. I told you this tab is like kind of all over the place. But calomel was first documented and discovered as something that can be used for health by a Persian physician named Al-Rasi. I can't remember.
La Raza? What?
His name, hold on.
Razist? Is this Razist? Is he racist?
Sounds like it. No, actually. But his name was Abu Bakr al-Razi, and he was from the city of Ray, R-A-Y, in Iran. And he lived... I wanted to go on this guy because he's the opposite of Benjamin Rush in every single way, in that he was 1,500 years ahead of the Western idea of medicine, because he was like, the four humors? What are you talking about? That makes zero sense. So I love this man, and I'm reserving the right for one of us to do this tab later, but he lived during the Islamic Golden Age and was considered one of the most important people in the history of medicine of any country. Yeah. He regularly taught that you should treat everyone treat everyone equally, regardless of personal relationship or biases. It was kind of like the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah.
But that was like, he actually practiced it.
Mm-hmm.
He had this lifelong burning hatred of quack medicine. That he would like go on these like he would go around cities just being like
duck
Stop!
Doctor listeners.
He would try to like preach against this, like literally being like, you guys have got to stop drinking piss or whatever it is they're telling you to drink. He was the father of pediatrics and the father of psychology. So he had these really, this was in like 900, back around the time when Europe was, I don't know, again, drinking piss probably.
Yeah.
And he correctly criticized Galen's theory of the four humors, saying, this is the most polite takedown I've ever heard, and I wanted to read it to you. I prayed to God to direct and lead me to the truth in writing this book. It grieves me to oppose and criticize the man Galen, from whose sea of knowledge I have drawn much from. Indeed, he is the master, and I am the disciple. Although this reverence and appreciation will and should not prevent me from doubting, as I did, what is erroneous in his theories. And he just goes on to be like, so polite, just being like, look, all respect to Galen, but he's fully wrong.
It's fully Persian. That's the most like, no, Karati, like I'm
That's
your
what it sounded
servant.
like to me.
I'm your servant.
I learned from you.
But you're still wrong, but I'm still your servant. But
Yeah.
you're actually a liar and spreading misinformation and killing people. But I'm still your humble servant.
But look, I'm here to tell you that you're great, but also stop. And he went on to say, well, it was funny. I was reading all of his quotes, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to generalize, but from everything
You're like,
I know
I'm noticing
about
a certain
Persian
speech
culture,
pattern that keeps happening here.
There's this speech pattern, and there's this the of course that underlying rage for all things unjust. And he come on, Galen was Greek, so. And he says, I imagine and feel deeply in my heart that Galen has chosen me to undertake this task. And if he were alive, he would have congratulated me on what I was doing. I say this because Galen's aim was to seek and find the truth and bring light out of darkness. I wish indeed that he were alive to read what I have published. So pretty much being like, and if he were here, he'd agree with me. Okay.
He'd agree with me. Yeah. Okay.
He also criticized Aristotle and Plato for being quack doctors, because they were. He said it was a physician's duty to keep an open mind to new study. He even built a hospital, and he like researched the area of the city, to put it where there would be the least amount of like sicknesses or like
so it's like a more sterile area kind of.
he like kind of had a more he kind of got on top of that early. And I'm just super intrigued by this guy because he seems like he was really ahead of his time. And a lot of Europeans did take some stuff from his writings, but only in the way that they wanted it to support what they had already decided was the truth, which is unfortunate because, classic. But since then, he's become more known. So, yeah, I just wanted to go on that guy for a minute because he's fascinating. Yep. And I just love the anger podcast. And the fully righteous anger of why would you? I don't know.
I'm going to politely take you down because if you were to know the true rage that I feel inside, you would think I'm an insane murderer.
Yeah, it would turn violent very quickly.
With words, not with actions.
So he identified calomel, mercury cyanide, and it became one of the most used chemical compounds in medicine from the 1600s through the 1800s, especially with gastrointestinal conditions such as congestion, constipation, despite many doctors pointing out that it worked for some things, but it mostly just poisoned you. But that didn't stop Benjamin Rush from just being like, I'm going to use it for everything.
It's great.
It was also used to treat syphilis.
Okay.
And syphilis was raging through the Americas because soldiers would just sleep around and
they're just mashing it
all over. It was spread rampantly. And I read up on syphilis because I've always heard that it's a new, quote unquote, new world disease that the Native Americans gave to the Europeans, but they actually don't know. So I want to dispel that myth. They don't know where it came from. There's still debate on where syphilis came from. So there was a lot of this kind of racist notion of these disease Native Americans gave us this, which is hilarious because who gave the disease to who? I was going to say,
but that doesn't really track in terms of historically what we've seen.
So we don't really know.
Oh, now syphilis has gone woke? Is that what you're telling me?
Europeans brought syphilis. It could have existed before. They just don't really know. And so I wanted to put that out there because...
Oh, really? This disease that didn't exist in this country at all before a certain group of people showed up and then gave them a bunch of other diseases?
Crazy. It just came out of the blue. Weird.
Wow. Thanks, woke. It's like the woke disease. It's just spreading everywhere. Oh, God, I can't even joke about it anymore.
I know. It exhausts me. And so these syphilitic soldiers would take these thunderclapper pills to treat their rampant venereal diseases while away from home.
Sorry. Just writing a sentence is syphilitic soldiers taking thunderclap pills. By the way, I don't think you know what the term thunderclap means, but for those of our more astute listeners, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Tell me.
It's perverted.
Are you going to make me look this up?
If you want.
Okay. Well, it fits. So, these, go look it up. It's amazing. Well, while they're these soldiers are thunderclapping each other.
That's how they know that the syphilis is spreading.
Yeah, they're the louder the thunderclap, the more syphilis spreads. So I love that they called them this because it's actually perfect. Woof.
Syphilis soldiers, mount up.
Mount up. Okay, boys. Let's get them clapping. Okay, let's where am I? I forgot. I can't find my spot.
All I can think of is syphilis soldiers thunderclapping across the country and spreading syphilis.
Well, they did, and they kept these thunderclapper pills in.
I'm telling you, they're boner pills. That's what they were. It reaffirms my theory.
Somehow they treated syphilis. I don't know why having violent diarrhea treated syphilis, but I guess it did.
They're could be worse. it's distracting you from the syphilis by having violent diarrhea instead.
And diarrhea. And now I'm just thinking of the diarrhea. So it was we have a little travel bottle of aspirin. It was like that.
Sure.
People carried these things with them all over the place in the 1800s, early 1800s. So it was a natural naturally Benjamin Rush freaked out when he learned that Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, Lewis and Clark, were setting out to document the newly acquired Louisiana Purchase, bought for next to nothing from Napoleon, without bringing a physician along. And he was like, whoa, what are you going to do? You got to get geared up, kitted up with all these pills. You're going to sleep with so many native people, because that's what everyone does. And you're going to get tons of syphilis. And so he rushes to them, and he's like, here's my pills. On the house. 600 thunderclappers. Now I can't make it through this.
Rush is just like, listen, you got to be thunderclapping left and right. Got to make sure you got enough energy to keep thunderclapping after your first round.
Thunderclapper
Spread
in the
that
sheets.
syphilis,
Thunderclapper in the toilet seat.
Trails? I don't know. Yeah.
Lewis and Clark is a whole different story. And it's been covered extensively, as everyone knows, in history books and documentaries. And just so you know, there's like a lot more to it that no one ever talks about. Like
I'm
the fact
sure.
that Meriwether Lewis was fully manic depressive, bipolar, and was all over the place.
That kind of tracks,
depressed.
actually. Yeah.
A bipolar person leading a 3-year journey through wilderness that has been uncharted by Europeans with a bunch of people. But another thing that was interesting about it was that, like, Sacagawea, the guide they had, that everyone says Sacagawea, I looked it up, but it's Sacagawea. They treated her like a third member of the team. Like, she was on equal footing to Lewis and Clark.
That's cool.
And had an equal say in things and helped lead. And a lot of times they're just like, and she showed them the way. And it's like, no, she fully immersed them, helped them immerse in the cultures of the different tribes they stayed with, to the point where it was like, there was really good relationships they built all along the trail. There was no violence. They didn't kill anybody. They were respectful, like, generally for the time. And I had this moment where I was like, man, things could have gone a lot different if we had been more like Lewis and Clark.
Running around with our thunderclap pills. Yeah.
just a trail of diarrhea. Disgusting. You should go people listen to this. Go listen to the episode of Stuff You Should Know about Lewis and Clark. It's really good. Okay. And I learned a lot. Anyway, so Meriwether Lewis was a constipated, manic depressive 28-year-old who was, crossing the country with literally no help besides a crash course on health and wilderness foraging and stuff. And so, surprisingly, no one died. One person died of a burst appendix, but for the most part, everyone was pretty healthy for the 3 years. Anyway, back to old-time laxatives. So Lewis and Clark had brought some supplies, such as opium for pain and to relax. So add that to the brain chemistry. Just pop some opium into that addled brain of yours and, have diarrhea all night. And basic medicinal tools and medical stuff. So they brought food, which only lasted a little bit. That was the plan. And after the food ran out, they planned on just eating what they could catch.
Taco Bell. Yeah.
Taco Bell. Yeah. My favorite Taco Bell in the middle of the river on a boat. The taco boat.
What do you think Lewis and Clark's Taco Bell order would have been? Let us know in the comments down below.
Tell us, please.
And what'd you say her name's pronunciation
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea. What do you think Sacagawea and Lewis and Clark would have eaten? Would they have gotten the burrito taco deal where it's like 10 of them? It used to be 10 for $10. I don't know how much. It's probably $1,000 now.
What they probably would have gotten.
Do you think they would have gotten like Doritos Locos tacos? Do you think they would have been mad that they would have wanted like a Mexican pizza?
A dog meat quesadilla because they ate a lot of dogs.
I see.
They ate a lot of dogs, like so many dogs. So with all that dog meat and horse meat and elk meat, as I've learned from stumbling onto like the carnivore influencers on Instagram who just drink butter and eat steak, it does a number on your gastrointestinal tract.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to do that. So they ate almost entirely meat.
So they were probably shredded by the end of it, though, right? I imagine they were just buff as all hell.
I don't know. Probably just ripped, constipated, and ripped. Syphilitic buff, man. The buff boys.
Man, they just sound like your average Joe Rogan guest.
Yes, absolutely. Mentally unhinged, buff, constipated,
eating
syphilitic. Meat. Yeah. Manifest destiny, bro.
Yeah. Lewis and Clark are like, I did a cold plunge this morning.
In the Mississippi River. It was really cold. Now I'm going to poop for 4 days straight like a man. So I just pictured the three of them just getting like high on opium, eating Taco Bell. That would be really fun. Cute. After all the meat they ate, they were like, we can't poop. There's nothing coming out. We're completely clogged up.
You need fiber.
Horrible. No fiber. There's barely any fiber in their diet. So, of course, they're like, hey, those syphilis pills actually help a lot with this. So we're going to start popping these by the mouthful. So over the 3-year journey, Lewis and Clark,
if you're doing a lot of drugs, too, that also makes you constipated.
Yes. They had the opium and the meat combined to make just
That's
a horrible
common, yeah,
time.
that's like a common thing that happens.
Which, thinking about like them saying he's a manic depressive, I think he was just constipated.
It does make you very upset when you can't shit
Yeah.
for 5 days at a time.
Oh, so they start popping these pills, and every time they set up camp for the next 3 years, because this journey took 3 years,
Yeah.
they would dig what was called a latrine pit, far enough
Okay.
away from the camp to not pollute the water or the air.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone would take their turn doing a full-on colon cleanse regularly, every week, every time they camped. This was part of the routine. Just absolutely filling up these latrine pits with dog meat and horse meat and opium remnants. Okay.
I can just picture just like you're out, you're camping. It's like beautiful. You can hear the crickets. You can hear the rustling of the fire. It's like you can see the stars. And then in the background, you're just hearing someone just blast ass like so painfully. Yeah.
And the reason they call them thunderclappers is because of the sound
of the cheeks clapping. So it was the same thing. I wonder if that's where the origin of the slang term comes from.
Maybe. And because mercury lasts for centuries in soil, this is how we know their exact route that they took to Oregon.
That's... This just broke my brain. I love it.
So the article was titled "Lewis and Clark Marked Their Trail with Laxatives," and mercury-laden laxatives. So they had a rough idea of the way they went, but after a while, after 3 years of documentation, they're not going to document every camp. And in order to pinpoint what they actually named and what they actually identified, they started finding these latrine pits. And archaeologists know that latrine, garbage dumps and outhouses, are the best place to find stuff because that's where people dump things.
Yeah.
And so they started testing them, and they're like, this has such a high concentration of mercury in just this spot that we can only imagine this is where they would just void their entire system.
Body of it, yeah.
And so now on the National Parks website, there is a stop-by-stop map of all the places that Lewis and Clark
where they shit
had violent diarrhea.
Oh my God, can we do a violent diarrhea tour recreation of Lewis and Clark? If you and I just shitting across the country?
I would love nothing. I'm honored that you would ask me.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think we should do it.
Camping and shitting, and that's it?
Shitting mercury across the country.
I'd probably cry. And that is my tab on how Lewis and Clark's journey was documented accurately by all of the mercury pills they shat out.
Their mercury diarrhea. Incredible. That was quite the payoff.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping for. I was like, I gotta bring it all together.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
How should we close? I mean, how should we close our tab?
I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but I think you know where I'm going to go with this.
I think so.
Is that what we want to do? Is the question?
No. How about clapping some cheeks?
Okay. We're going to have thunderclaps be the thing?
How about, hold on.
Syphilis? Is there a syphilis sound that we can use? I don't know.
What does a nose sound like when it crumbles off someone's face? Because that's what syphilis does.
Maybe we should just do, I think we should just do what I was saying earlier. We should have the crickets and the fire and the sound of camping. And then in the background, you just hear a blast or two. And I think that's how it ends. I want to set the scene.
Sorry, Alyssa. Again.
Sorry, Alyssa. If you don't want to do it, just do whatever you want. It's fine. Doesn't matter. But why don't you count us down?
Or a toilet flush. I don't know. 3, 2, 1. Avoid those bowels. I can't wait to close all of these.
Oh my God, I have so many tabs open. So much. Okay, moving on to listener emails. Up first is Alex from Durham. I don't know where Durham is. It's North Carolina, Virginia?
I think it's North Carolina. Yeah.
I'm sure there's more than one Durham. I'm assuming it's North Carolina. Anyway,
yeah.
Alex writes, hello. I wanted to share an open tab about the 1970 Soviet Western, sometimes called Ostern, titled White Son of the Desert, or Beloye Solentsy Pustini, directed by Viktor Model.
That is so
Apologies
Russian
all around.
Sounding.
Set during the Russian Civil War of 1917 to 1925, it follows the adventures of Comrade Sukov, a good communist who mostly wants to get home to Russia in Turkmenistan as he battles bandits and white army counter-revolutionaries. With a lively mixture of action, comedy, music, and drama, the film achieved an overwhelming cult status in the USSR and now Russia. Despite the fact that it was produced during the bland and censorious Brezhnev years, the film maintains a cynical streak regarding the civilizing mission of the Soviet Empire, with the predominating, if unspoken, question being, what are we even doing here?
We all have that question.
As with any good Western, the film has lots of questionable racial politics, both in its depiction of Central Asians and casting choices, parentheses, the Central Asian villain is depicted by a Georgian, aka the Italians of the Soviet Union, but it is a blast nevertheless. Georgian like your boy, young Stalin. So what, you might be asking? Why should I care about a mid-Soviet cult classic depicting the loss of idealism and ultimately doomed struggle against Brezhnevite malaise? Brezhnevite?
I think it's
like an adjective.
Brezhnevite, yeah.
Brezhnevite malaise? I can name a half dozen of those off the top of my head. Well, how many of those tragicomedies have been watched by someone about to be strapped into a rocket and shot into space?
What?
Because, for whatever reason, watching Viktor Motil's Soviet Western has become a ritual for cosmonauts about to go into space.
What?
This, along with pissing on the rocket that's about to carry them into space, a ritual which probably merits its own tab, is just one of those things that Soviet and to this day Russian spacefarers do prior to launch.
They piss and watch a Western?
I guess. It's tradition. If the movie sounds at all intriguing, you can watch it in full for free on YouTube on the Must Film channel. As an aside, I showed this film to my girlfriend on our 4th date, and we've been married for 7 years now, so it's nothing if not a good test for a relationship and or space readiness. Best, Alex.
I love those
That's
little
wild.
good luck charms that people do, like break a leg, and you could say piss
leg.
on a rocket.
Piss on a rocket.
Say that from now on. Okay. Thank you, Alex. This is from McKenna in Seattle. Hi, my tab is a BBC article from 2019 titled Johnny Fiveaces. Original meme artwork sells for $5,100. I open this tab every few months when I'm telling someone new about my favorite piece of internet lore. Many who listen to this show may already know about this, but in 2003, somebody on the Something Awful forums, did you ever read Something Awful?
Barely.
Yeah, I dabbled. Something Awful forums pitched an idea for a video game called the Zyborn Clock. Over the course of a few years, users had constructed an expansive Zyborn Clock universe that included the protagonist, Johnny Fiveaces, depicted smoking a cigar while drinking a beer, cheating at poker, flipping us off, wearing a scarf, and man-spreading so wide it looks like it hurts. So I'm going to send you a picture of this. So here's Johnny Fiveaces, man spreading and flipping someone off. And
also looks like a Soviet revolutionary with those glasses.
100%. There's also my favorite bit where the creators tried to explain time travel as 4 balls on the edge of a cliff. I have spent years trying to understand this, and I am no closer now than when I first heard it. Anyhow, really only fragments of this universe survive, but I love this story because it is such a perfect snapshot of a very, very stupid, but strangely also very earnest collective imagination of the early internet. In this BBC article, we learned that the original creator of the most iconic surviving image from the Zyborn Clock, a pencil drawing of Johnny, sold it in 2019 for over $5,000 to help pay off their credit card and student loan debt, because we live in hell. I look forward to new episodes of this show every week. Thank you for making it. McKenna from Seattle. It's Johnny Fiveaces.
Johnny Fiveaces. We do live in hell. It's true. It's a bummer. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
If you also have a listener email that you'd like to submit, please go ahead and send it to 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500. We also, recently we've been getting more voice memos, which is great. And we encourage you guys to keep doing that. But either way, we just love to hear from you. We want to know what you're reading, what kind of weird stuff that you've come across so we can share with our audience.
Deep dives, rabbit holes. Yeah, please. And if you want to follow us, you can follow us at 500 Open Tabs on Instagram and Blue Sky and on YouTube. If you subscribe on YouTube, we would be greatly appreciative of that, because we're trying to make it to 1,000 and we are very close. So
man, we are barely there. We'd start making tens of cents. Help.
Yeah, help. Our final word is help. No.
Help.
And if you want to see us at a Comic-Con, we are coming to New York Comic-Con in a few weeks now.
That's going to be exciting.
Table D33.
33.
Yeah. So,
D33, I'm excited to be in New York in October.
Me
It's going
too.
to be a lot of fun. Always love New York Comic Con. That's always a really fun show to do.
such a good one.
Other than that, I guess that about does it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll
Yeah.
be back next week. Back next week with another episode.
Billious episode. Oh,
No more sushi for me. Yeah.
I ate some last week and it wasn't very good, but whatever.
Really? Should have
Yeah, I
come
got
to
it from the
Ventura
grocery
Boulevard.
store like an idiot. So I
Some
will see
grocery stores have
you
okay sushi.
at the Gwen Stefani latrine pit with my mercury pills. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you at the Gwen Stefani latrine pit. I like that. That's going to be a new good. It's going to be a new good.
It's going to be a new good. This is what
Family
looks
Love
like when,
Michael. New good.
This is what it looks like when two aging millennials are trying to remember anything. It's new good.
New good. Yeah. Thanks for thanks for everything. Bye everybody. See you at the Gwen Stefani tribute latrine.
The tribute latrine and latrine pit.
I feel like a tribute latrine pit means it's not even a real latrine pit. It's just a tribute to it. So it's in fact like a giant Tupperware or something. I don't know.
Oh, we should start a shrine. We should have a shrine. We should make a shrine.
I mean, technically, it would be the tribute to Lewis and Clark is like us shitting next to where they had shit because we're the cover band, we're the tribute band.
Should we go do a tribute shit in their latrine?
I think let's do. Yeah, we're gonna end this show now. We're all gonna do.
Oh,
we need to end this before this continues.
Genuinely, I'll see you at the Lewis and Clark tribute pit. All right.
Okay.
Eat some
Sounds
mercury.
Good.
Bye. Bye again. I said